3, 2, 1.
All right. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to another episode of WunderCAST. I'm your host, Riker Taylor, and I can't believe I just said yo, yo, yo. But there we are. I've got, as always, I'm joined beside producer Alex. He's in the house. And then I've also got a very special guest this time, Dylan Moore, the marketing director for Pecan Ridge and the founder of the LBK Foodies Facebook group, which has, for lack of a better term, exploded for sure over the last, I think it was like June when you started?
4th
Yes, June 4th.
Yeah.
You see, this is commitment. He knows the day he started this Facebook group. I was one of the first members that was invited to it. And so I think I was like maybe 120 or 150. Like I was early on. And then I saw that yesterday we just crossed like 10,000 in that group. So
I'm so excited for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to have you on.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity, man. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, for sure. So go ahead and just give us a little bit of a rundown about who you are, what you do day to day, how you got to where you're at, whatever kind of introduction you'd like to give yourself.
Heck yeah. Like you said, I'm the marketing director for Pecan Ridge. And for those of y'all that don't know, Pecan Ridge is Lubbock's anything and everything store. If you are an entrepreneur in Lubbock, if you are an artist in Lubbock, if you are any kind of talent here in Lubbock, we want you at the store and we want to share your story.
Okay.
As far as the LBK Foodies, we'll get into that story later, I'm sure. But yeah, that has just exploded, man. And I cannot believe it. I thought there wouldn't be more than 350 members ever on that group.
Yeah.
And I think we crossed that like the third day. So that was really cool. I actually have just started about 3 years ago in marketing. So I'm kind of still fresh to this.
Okay.
And I just found my way to Pecan Ridge. I thought that was just the coolest job ever. The potential was amazing there. And I couldn't pass it up, man. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The other part of the intro that I forgot to give is he's also just like a social media superstar in general here. So this guy is like, before he walked into a marketing agency this morning and he was the one taking all the pictures and everything. So like, you can tell that he likes to, he's really good at just understanding what people like to see on Facebook and, Instagram, just social media in general. So it's really fun to just kind of follow you and watch what you do. But yeah, talk to me firstly, I guess, since Pecan Ridge is kind of your main thing that you've got going on. Talk to me a little bit more about how you found your way there and then kind of how you've evolved over the course of the last few years since you took that job.
So basically, I wanted to get into marketing, and I had absolutely zero experience. So,
okay, nice. So you're anybody and everybody.
Anybody. Yeah. I actually known the owner, Chris, through church. We both lived in Roswell for about 2 years at the same time and went to the same church. So I had known him previously. So thankfully, I kind of had that on me. And he knew a little bit about my background, my capabilities, and stuff like that. So I basically just gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Okay, nice.
I was like, I basically said, hey, for the next 4 or 5 years, however long it takes, I will be your ultimate simp. Just like let me market this place because I think I know what to do with it.
Careful, that term might get banned on Twitch.
Seriously. I just thought there was like a lot of untapped potential with Pecan Ridge. 3 years ago. I mean, we have an acre of space. I mean, not only does it celebrate West Texas agriculture, it also celebrates Lubbock entrepreneurs. I mean, that's just a win-win. So I just had to take the opportunity for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to stem off of that question. So obviously the name implies Pecan Ridge.
Yes.
But some would argue that maybe there's a little bit of a branding disconnect there, to say the least, because it's not just pecans. And certainly, especially I think since you've been on board, you've really pushed for that.
Yeah.
I saw that mill thing that y'all are doing out in Maine and Lubbock. So I assume that was mostly your brainchild. So
it's always a group effort.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, kind of talk to me about what part you have played in this kind of change from just being, acres of pecans and, pecan shelling and all of this stuff that, Pecan Ridge has been known for years and years to what it is now. Like, what does that look like?
Well, when we went into the business, or when I started about 2.5, 3 years ago, 80% or 85% of the business was the pecan shelling.
Sure.
Which is unfortunate because pecan shelling is an absolute dying industry.
Yeah.
Most of our pecan shelling customers are retail. So that means they have like 2 or 3 trees in their property. Well, younger homeowners just don't want to take care of that stuff at all.
Yeah.
So it really is a dying industry. And we had to figure out how to pivot and how to pivot fast.
Yes. Not to interrupt, and also not to kill your soul, but I'm one of those young homeowners with the pecan tree that just does not give a crap.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So any of the younger homeowners that come into the store, they're like, oh yeah, we have pecan trees, but never going to take care of them.
Yeah,
like,
we have.
Trust me, I know. Yeah.
We have 3 on our property, and you're like, oh yeah, you got the sad trombone. Yeah,
seriously,
we got 3 of them on our property, and I mean they dropped the pecans last year
all the time, though, right?
Yeah,
yes. The first drop is cute. Everything after that is just like, why?
Sure. Well, sorry, I interrupted you, but go ahead and continue on. So 80% of your business was pecan shelling, obviously a dying industry, so you're pivoting.
Yeah, so we had Pecan Ridge did have a store there. It was just like 1 shelf though, no joke, and like I think 4 maybe 5 products altogether, and then the pecans. So I thought there was like a really neat opportunity to showcase what Lubbock entrepreneurs were doing. And at the time, Chicago Station Market was running.
Right.
And it was a big deal, man. I mean, it was huge.
Sure.
So I thought, what if we could capitalize on some of that success that they found, but instead of having it once a month, having it every single day? And it just worked for us, mainly because Lubbock supports Lubbock, and they saw the vision and they loved it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been a rise of, this support local movement, all across the country, but especially, I mean, in Lubbock.
Yes. I don't think anyone does it better than us. I'll be honest. I don't care. I don't care what your city is. We are the best at this.
Yeah. I mean, between things like what y'all are doing, and you had the Chicago Station Market days. Now I know they're not around anymore. You have the Wolfworth Farmers Market, which has been a big thing.
Yeah.
You've got like the downtown farmers market that's, come and gone at different time periods. And then you have people like Taylor McAlpine with local LBK out there doing his
crazy,
thing.
brilliant stuff though, right? Yes.
Right. So you've gotten and I've been doing this. We're about to celebrate our 5th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. As a business. And I feel like I started right before, I remember talking with Taylor like at different meetups right before he started that kind of local LBK movement. I feel like we started right before like this really big push.
Yes.
So I've gotten to kind of see it from a business perspective on the outside looking in, watching this go from really no pushing of the support local movement to all of a sudden you've got like all these different outlets.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been exciting. And I know that you've been a big part of that. And so I'm really excited about this whole Made in Lubbock, this mill thing that you've got going on. So you went from 1 shelf with like 5 products to now you launched a whole sub-brand.
Literally the entire building is going to be dedicated to Lubbock entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So I went from 1 shelf to the entire building. I mean, I think it's a 6,500 square foot building. So pretty big, man. We're going to be able to pack a lot of vendors in there. Yeah. But yeah, it is amazing the transformation that has taken place in the last 2 years. And also there's like it's amazing how many 2-3-year-old businesses there are here in Lubbock.
Yeah.
Almost like everyone started at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's really, really interesting watching everyone grow and in their own unique ways.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. What I'm going to be really looking at and being excited for is, now that we're kind of making it through this pandemic and things are kind of opening back up and stuff, I'm excited to see the staying power of some of these businesses, because I mean, it's not like 80% of all small businesses fail within the first 5 years. Yeah. And so that's a real thing. And I think that's been a thing that's happened for the last 2-3 decades in Lubbock. Any time a small local business has tried to do, anything, right? They start and then they fail usually, at least 80% of them. Yeah. But now I think there's really been this taking to this support local thing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that statistic kind of start changing a little bit, where it's less percentage of these businesses are failing because the outlets for them to succeed are being created.
Exactly. So I think that is one of the most phenomenal changes over the past, 4 or 5 years. Yeah. It's just the resources that small businesses have, not only to engage with their customers, but to connect with the city overall. Sure. Is just mind blowing. Yeah. I mean, there are just so many places to advertise and so many ways to get yourself out in front of people. It's mind blowing, man.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, businesses fail because they have a visibility issue, because they weren't seen enough, heard enough, or known enough. And I think that these different outlets have definitely played a big part in that. So yeah. So congrats to you for helping be a part of that. And I think, Yeah, there you go.
like
Yeah,
that. Yes,
right. Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. There's a contextual use of that particular sound effect for sure. But no, I really do think that, entrepreneurs and some of these different ones that participate in this mill thing that you've got going on or any of these other things, they do have you to thank in part for, creating these outlets because, I mean, our type of business, we're not showing up at a farmer's market, right? Yeah, a business, nobody cares about web design, but these local retailers and these with products and stuff, they really can benefit from these outlets. So I think you're doing a great thing there.
I appreciate it. It's actually not just me. It really was the inspiration of Kelly B. She is truly the person who started this in Lubbock.
Okay.
Not only the artisanal movement, but Chicago Station Market. I mean, she has helped so many of us. She really is the pillar of small business here. In Lubbock. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I took a lot from her inspiration.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. I've never actually met her personally. I obviously have heard of her because she's had the Chicago Station Market days and various other things. But yeah, I guess she really. You just kind of came in and took.
Built where she started.
Nice.
Honestly,
But
But yeah, she is.
I'm booking her as a podcast guest now. Sorry, Dylan.
Yeah.
Just like
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it was very inspiring to see what she was able to accomplish in 2 years. And I figured, hey, what if we had dedicated resources to this all the time?
Yeah.
What would that look like?
Yeah.
And I think it's been fairly successful, at least so far.
Sure.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you, and you might not be able to answer this today, or
I'll go for it.
You might not have the answer for it, and that's fine too. But Pecan Ridge is now a shop for local entrepreneurs, and I know that you've kind of started this whole mill by Pecan Ridge branding, which I think starts to help shape some of the disconnects of the branding there. If you're so much more, but do y'all have any plans to take that any further? Well, eventually it's like mill. Pecan Ridge is more of the backseat, or
actually, yeah. So Pecan Ridge is going to be 3 unique experiences all in one now. So we're going to have the Mill, which stands for Made in Lubbock, which celebrates and supports local entrepreneurs. We're going to have the Orchard, which is an all-access community hub. We're going to have picnic areas, reading areas, food. Basically, just come anytime, chill by yourself, with your family, with your friends. If you just want to enjoy the day in Lubbock and get away, the Orchard is the place to do it. And then, of course, we'll have Pecan Ridge as well, which will remain the country store and focus on Lubbock history, West Texas history, and just remind everyone what it means to be a Texan, but in a Lubbock way.
Okay.
So it's going to be a really cool celebration of everything Lubbock.
Yeah, I love that. So you're really transitioning. I think y'all's challenge, and I'm sure you've already thought about this, is transitioning where Pecan Ridge is the name of the service you provide, and it just happens to be the name of this cool business that does these other things. So have you kind of thought through, and I'm sure you have, but what that transition looks like long term? Because that's not something you flip a switch and you do, right? Y'all have been in business for a long time, been in Lubbock staple for 20,
25 years.
Yeah, 26
years in August.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So you don't just flip a switch overnight. So in your mind and in your current thought process of planning, what does this branding transition look like?
Actually, we're about to roll out those announcements next week, but basically what's going to happen is Pecan Ridge will stay the same. The country store will stay the same for right now. The first project we're going to work on is the Orchard.
Okay.
So we're going to get that cleaned up, seating areas, food trucks out there. We really want that to be a place where people can come and hang out and just enjoy the day.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with the Orchard first. Then we're going to go back to Pecan Ridge, kind of update the store there and refocus it on Lubbock history, West Texas history. And then, the big project, the Mill, is the third to come. But yeah, it's basically a 3-phase project for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I like about this. And if you're listening to this, our audience, like I was telling you beforehand, Dylan, is entrepreneurs. So the people listening to this, we want to really try to break this down for tangible takeaways, right?
Yeah.
And so one thing that I'm taking away from this and that I've seen other businesses do, when they do it, it's successful. When they don't, they always fail. You can ask Toys R Us. But where I'm going with this is, y'all saw okay, we're a business that's in a dying industry, right, wrong, or otherwise.
Yes.
As much as we might love to love what we do, this is not going to be a thing in blankety blank years, right? We have to make a change. But then you looked around, and one thing that you said that really stood out to me was you looked around and you saw that you have you have this acre or whatever that you have of land, and then you have this whole big building that was serving a business that was very underutilized. What else can you do with it? And you got creative with the tools at your disposal. You didn't have to go out and create a whole new building. You didn't have to go out and buy all this new land. You had that. You just had to rework your thinking. And I know that's not easy to do. You know, when your name is Pecan Ridge and you've done something for 20 years,
yes,
going in and literally fundamentally changing the business from we're doing pecan shelling to we're going to use our giant building to sell Lubbock products, and we're going to use our orchard space for community picnics and stuff. That's creativity right there. And I think to everyone listening to this, those are the golden nuggets you can take away from this is every problem can be solved if you look at it in a different light with a different lens. And if you're willing to accept outside ideas.
And if you're willing to accept risk, because I have to hand it to Chris, the owner.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine walking into your boss and being like, hey, 75% of your business, I think you should just like kill tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
You know? Yeah.
It's like, well,
so, yeah.
Are you not taking a paycheck? Because, how are we doing this, right? No, but that's 100%. Every business, you have to be willing to take that risk. It doesn't necessarily have to be high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Like in y'all's case, this can be, it seems like it's been a pretty rapid transition, but this conversation happened a couple of years ago at the very least. So you've been working on this over the course of several years. So it can be kind of a more slow transition in terms of like, it doesn't have to happen overnight. So
yeah. And I'm really impatient. Like I want the mill to happen like tomorrow, but for what we want to do, we want to do it right. So it's got to take time.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Like everything you've just laid out here is just a testament to creative thinking can save a business and it can make a business. And just hearing you talk about what this space is going to be, I'm like, that's sick. Like
I think it's going to be really cool.
I think it's going to be great. Especially with this whole pandemic and people wanting to have outlets outdoors to be able to meet. Like now you're providing this whole space outside where people can have picnics in a controlled environment. They're not having to go to some sketchy park.
Whatever. Just bring your meat, bring your family. Let's do this thing. It'll
that
be really
is
awesome.
That is the big thing I think for businesses moving forward is to build experiences, right? Yes. That's exactly what you're doing here. You're not selling a product. You're providing the venue for the experience.
Exactly.
And that's what every business has to be thinking about, especially with this pandemic. I think this pandemic accelerated that thinking.
100%.
Y'all probably, correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all probably were talking about some of these changes before last year hit. Yes,
actually. Yep.
But then because it's here and it's now, it's probably gone from, hey, that's maybe in the 5 to 10 year plan to, hey, that's in the 2 to 3 year
Exactly.
plan. Yes.
Yeah, that is exactly correct. Yeah.
And kudos to y'all for doing that, because if you were like other businesses and we're like, we'll just keep it, then you're too late. You miss, you're just going to miss out on it. But yeah, that's I'm really unpacking a lot of what you're saying, and it's very fascinating to me because
I really appreciate that, man.
Yeah, like I'm just seeing a lot of the different advice that I've heard over the years, and that different, Alex, you probably speak to this too. Like there's been podcast guests that we've had on just the last few weeks or in the past that have mentioned these different principles of pivoting, being able to creatively separate yourself from your business and not getting offended when you might have to just completely destroy the business model. And all of that is at work here. And like we're getting to witness in real time the transformation of a Lubbock staple into something arguably even better for the community.
Oh, I think it will be even better. This is going to be iconic. We really want to show Lubbock what's up with this. Yeah.
So, all right, I've done a lot of talking.
I like it though. I'm totally okay with that, honestly.
So I usually try to not talk as much, but this has been very fascinating. I really like having this dialogue with you. Before I go on to my next series of questions, Alex, do you have questions off of this?
Not necessarily any questions in particular, but I do want to say that we talked about this a couple weeks ago where we were saying that we talk about evolution a lot in the studio. And I think that's a big theme of mine, and I think that that's a really good testament to what y'all are doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny that you say that, because the tagline for this transition is it's not a comeback, it's an evolution.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And I think that there's a thing with evolution that people don't realize is that you can do things a little bit off kilter and not necessarily to y'all's namesake and still have a booming success, which it sounds like that's going to be. Again, I'm with Riker there. That's really fascinating. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So not really a question, but more of a statement. I really appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
All right. So transitioning, hard transition
hard right,
here.
Yeah.
Yes, hard right here. So let's go back to Lubbock Foodies. All right.
Love it. Let's do this.
going back, I'm going to set the stage here for our guests that might not know you. All right. So you and I, we met, I think like right after the pandemic kind of started. We met at a Master Networks or at a chamber event or something. Right. But I was following you for a few months leading up to that. And then since then, you have been, I jokingly have told a few people, it's like, dude, that guy puts Lubbock on his back. But like you have been like on, local news and, quoted and all these different things. Like you have really taken these Lubbock local businesses and put them on your back during this time and made sure that they have these outlets to create and do things. And then you've started these different Facebook groups. You've had the Lubbock Foodies. I think you have, Lubbock.
We have many. Lubbock Dog Lovers.
Dog
Lubbock
Lovers.
Inc.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Lubbock Foodies is your most successful out of all of those. But you have all these different groups that people can be a part of. And I think you're using Facebook groups for what their intended purpose is to be a community of like-minded people. There's a bunch of Facebook groups that exist in the world. I'm like, why the heck is this a thing?
For real though,
but I think you're using it the right way there. And I think that's part of why you're seeing some success, especially with the foodies side of things. But I was actually talking with my grandmother. This is funny. She called me a couple of days ago and she's like, hey, Riker, I just joined this Lubbock Foodies Facebook group. And she's like, I saw, this really cool, I think it's Earl of Sandwich that just opened up, right? Yeah. And they're like, I saw that and it looked really good. So they went and tried it and then they were like sending me pictures like, it's really good. They're like, this group is fascinating. Yes. You should join it. And I was like, well, let me tell you something, Grandma. I was actually...
Not only did I join it.
I was actually one of the first members, but I also know Dylan. I'm going to be actually interviewing him in a couple of days. But what her point to me was, she was like, I had no idea. She's like, I see all these pictures of people cooking and sharing all these different recipes. She was like, number one, I had no idea we had this much talent at a home chef level in Lubbock. Yeah. And two, we had this many restaurants. I was like, that's Mom, you should know that. Like Lubbock likes to eat.
We love to eat.
I was like, I don't know why you're surprised. Lubbock likes to eat. This is a food country out here. But nonetheless, it's really, you've given people that would have otherwise just been home chefs without any kind of a voice an outlet to share and learn. The amount of times I see somebody post a recipe and then everyone in the comments section is like, I gotta give me that.
For the next 4 days, you just see post of that.
Right, yeah, exactly. Okay. It's like, the jalapeno poppers with brisket in it.
Yes, that was like a whole month-long extravaganza.
Yes, it's like one person posts it, everyone's
got to
doing
try it
that now. Yeah, so you're literally creating trends inside this group. But kind of talk me through what gave you the idea of A, creating the Lubbock Foodies group, B, creating some of these other groups that you also have in the Lubbock Dog Lovers and things like that, and then how you're evolving with that, and then ultimately getting to these TV shows and things that you're doing there.
Well, for Lubbock Foodies, honestly, I was just looking for a place to share all my food pictures without completely annoying my entire timeline.
Sure.
So I was like, I'll just make this group. It'll be like 150 people. Also, the cover page for like $1,000 or $100 a week, a couple of extra $1,000 like a year. Like it'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
By like day 2, day 3, I think we had 350 members, something like that. Like far, far beyond my expectations. So that was a mind-blowing experience. But my thought behind all the groups was, what if you could make Reddit local? Like, what if you could localize Reddit? Wouldn't that be such a cool idea? Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that's how all the other groups were born, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you actually still selling the cover photo as an advertisement?
No. So actually, I think it was like the first 6 days or something like that. Once we reached 500 members, I was like, okay, so this is like a lot bigger than I ever expected. This might be something here. Yeah. So we promised to never monetize the actual Facebook group. No cover pages, no sponsored ads, no nothing. What you see on the group is all 100% organic.
Okay.
We have broken off into ancillaries, the website, and coming soon the TV channel. But yeah, those will be monetized, but the Facebook group never monetized ever. This is a place for community to connect with community.
Okay. Yeah. I like that idea. So what I was going to say there is like, you had the opportunity to monetize, and you were thinking at first that like in terms of like, how can I make?
I was like, how fast can I sell this?
Right. So, and that's a very entrepreneurial thing to do. If you're you've got to, I mean, obviously if you're going to do something, and unless it's just your absolute passion project and you're a billionaire or whatever, and money is no object, you've got to be thinking in terms of how can this make me a little bit of money on the side, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's day one or even if it's like 2 or 3 years before you plan to actually be able to monetize it, you've got to have some kind of monetization plan. So I love that you entered in with the idea of like, how am I going to monitor or monetize this? Oh, it's going to be this, selling the cover photo. But then you said, okay, well, no, I actually want to have a series of principles and values we stand on, which one of them being like no monetization of the Facebook group. So that's okay. Like you went into it with, I know how I would make money on this, but I've decided that I'm against that model. And then you pivoted to these other, forthcoming channels or upcoming channels. So yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a really crazy ride. I couldn't. Every time people say like there's 10,000 members, I'm blown away, man. Like, there's no way, but it's happening. And the analytics behind this group are y'all have to take a look at these because I mean 120,000 overall like reactions, comments, posts every single week. 100 new members every single day. I think every day there's about 2,300 reactions. Yeah. Every day there's about 175 new posts. I mean, it is insane. But they don't only post, they actually go to these places. They actually support these home cooks. Like Johnny G Salsa, I mean, he is just absolutely blown up.
Sure.
And all he has done is post in the Foodies page.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a household name now. It's amazing.
Yeah. What's this? Is it Wes Wicker?
Yeah, Wes Wicker.
Yeah, that's a name of, I see him all the time now in that
there's
group.
There's like this culture of like subculture of like foodie stars. It's just like so cool to see it happen,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And again, that kind of goes back to the points I was making earlier. Like there's visibility now for some of the like the salsa company or anything like that they otherwise would have had a different path to get to where they're at, or might not have had the path entirely. Yeah. You're creating these channels.
Yes. And we've been looking a lot. I mean, we really have been searching for anyone that's been trying to do the same types of things. We haven't found it exactly yet. So I think LBK really is doing first in the nation stuff. And I think we really can show the world how to connect community with community.
Yeah. Okay. I really like that. Alex, you got any other questions now that we've kind of changed it up a little bit?
No, not in a particular sense, but I might have something towards the end for Dylan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in.
Culture question.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right.
I'm in.
All right.
Drop it on me.
Well, so leading into the next thing, the website, the TV show, those are now going to be kind of channels of monetization for you, but they're also, you're now taking this what was confined to Facebook, right? And so you're beholden to Facebook terms, and we can go down the whole path of like, is Facebook evil or not? But we'll refrain from that on this episode. But instead, you're now taking this thing that you were able to utilize the membership base of Facebook to grow this group, and now you're taking it offline. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe you do know that, but if you don't know, that's brilliant, by the way, because that's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. So many people on the daily come to me all the time, and they're like, hey, we want to start a membership base, right? We want to charge $10 a month to be a member to this, whatever, right? And that's cool. But what they forget about is you got to have like an audience, or you've got to have the content. You've got to have some kind of
You've got to have the cool factor. Whatever your cool factor is, you've got to have it.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of them make the mistake of they try to go offline first. Like they try to build their, and I'd fall more into that path of like, I've tried to build a audience, like a group off of Facebook, just trying to get people interested, get their emails, sign up for my own, because there's like different tools out there now that you can make your own self-hosted Facebook group, essentially. That's really hard to do, though, because the user base doesn't exist. Yeah. So I really love the model in which you did this here, right? And this is, in my mind, the ideal framework. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, hey, I want to build a community about, whatever the topic might be. You create that Facebook group. Facebook has millions of people. They have the groups feature that exists for that sole purpose. Yeah. Utilize it. Yes. Then be thinking in terms of, how can I take this off of Facebook when one day Facebook changes and their terms change? How can we keep this going and thriving? Well, you've got the website now. You've got the TV show coming up.
Soon we're going to have events.
Okay.
Yeah. So our first event we're going to announce, you know what? I'm going to drop it right here. So our first announcement we're going to make is, I love it. So we're going to have a charity competition every year. Okay. The theme is going to change every year. This first theme is going to be Chili and Chillin'. The winner is going to get a brand new 2021 car by Scott and Dickey. Yeah, I'll just leave that there for a second. But yeah. So that's gonna be so awesome, man. I cannot wait to give away a freaking car at a chili fest. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Alex is like, sign me up for making some chili right there, right?
I thought I was in a Chilton, but that car though. And then Picoso's we're gonna announce today. So they are going to have a competition to wherever the winner of the best dish is. They're gonna feature it on their menu for a month. All proceeds of that meal are gonna go to the charity of that person's choice. So, right though. It is really, really cool to see Lubbock supporting this group in ways like that. I mean, like, that's really, just kind of mind blowing to me.
Well, and here's the thing: that just goes to show now. Again, you've built a community that people now want to be a part of. If you'd gone last year to Picoso's or just Gog and Dickey and said, "Hey, give us a car to give away, or let us be featured on the menu," they probably would have been like, I'm sure they're nice people, so they probably wouldn't have just totally blown you off, but they certainly wouldn't have been like, yeah, all for it, right? Most likely not. But you've built the community. Now you have an asset that you can go to them with, but now you can start treating your audience with things that they have, and it becomes a win-win.
Yeah, and I've got to give it to all the members of LBK Foodies. I mean, the fact that they don't just like keep it on Facebook, that they go out and like actually support, that is the key.
That's
to
the
our
unsung
success.
thing here. Yeah. And I think that's like the underlining to your success, because you can have all those people in the group, but you can, I am in groups where there's like thousands of members and there's like posts like every couple of days, right? There's posts constantly.
That's
in that
actually
group.
why we had to create the website, is there was so much content every day. We had to give people like, hey, here's like the top trending, like here's your top 20 takeaways for today. But
exactly. Yeah. So there's just a lot going on. So, and again, I think that's the thing. You have to have the user base, but you also have to make sure the type of user is actually engaged, right?
You have to understand what makes them want to go out, what makes them want to do more than just click. You really do have to understand that about your community.
Yeah, because then that's what eventually advertisers are going to care about, or sponsors of events they're going to care about is, all right, if I give away a car, is your audience actually going to give a crap? Right? Like, are they going to know that I gave away this car? Like,
exactly.
And are they going to even care?
Right.
So and then what are they going to do? Well, they're going to go out and purchase and buy and various other things. So I think that's great. Having that engaged user base is critical. And I want to take that a step further. So obviously the group has seen a lot of success, but there's been, I've been a part of a few. Being a moderator of any Facebook group is something, man. Right? Especially in the middle of a pandemic.
The most, it was a learning curve for me, man.
Yeah.
I'm very just like, say what you want, if you don't like it, scroll past it. Yeah, right.
Personal responsibility. If it offends you, scroll. We're adults.
Yeah,
yes.
But not everyone has that ability
it's very shocking,
or thought process.
Yes.
So it's been really interesting to me to have to manage that.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about managing that, like in a practical standpoint, again, because we're talking to entrepreneurs here that might want to eventually go out and do what you're doing. And so we're talking about the success, right?
Yeah.
And it's seemingly been an overnight success, right?
Seemingly,
yes. I mean, it's something that you've worked really hard to do, and I see you posting in there like every day, and most of the time, several times a day. You're in there, just in the trenches, being just as active.
Yes.
But talk to me tangibly. What is it like to manage a group of 10,000 people? What kind of moderators do you have in place? How do you set the ground rules, and how do you enforce those rules?
It's actually probably one of the most difficult things I've done, I'll be honest. So we have the LBK Foodies performance team, which is like up to 7 members, 7 mods, 2 admins, and like it's an all-day job, man. I'm not even joking. Like just all the spammers that you have to make sure don't come in. Some of the arguments that come around. We have since things got bad there for a while, we have a no negative restaurant review policy.
Sure.
So just making sure that is held up to. But it really is an all-day job.
Yeah.
You have members like email or messaging you all day, like, why did this post get taken off? How come they can post this? Like, it's really
very petty.
Yeah,
right? You're dealing with
you're
other
me
people.
It is, but I understand that for them, it's important.
Yeah.
So,
congrats, you're dealing with other people now.
Yeah, right.
Here's
but
your
yeah,
award.
it is it's super difficult.
Yeah.
I'm blessed, but
Sure.
yeah, it's a really interesting learning curve for sure.
Sure.
And you just, especially the mod team, the admins, or whoever are the creators of that community, you really do have to be active because all those members are looking to you to see what to post, what kind of content this group is about. So you really have to cultivate that culture with your content. Yeah, and just being out front every day.
So how did you go about selecting this core group of 6-7 people that you've got right now?
So the other admin, Wes Wicker, he's just, if you know him, it's an obvious choice, right? But not only is he brilliant with social media, he has a phenomenally large network, and his product, the jelly, is just fantastic.
Sure. So he's got his own, value to bring to the table.
Exactly.
And he's also aligned with the vision.
Exactly. He totally understood everything about that, and he was a pretty prominent member of other foodie groups, especially like in Dallas and the Fort Worth area. So he had seen foodie groups evolve for the past 2 years. So he had that knowledge and context for me, which really, really helped. And honestly, I've got to give him so much credit. He started posting daily memes at noon every day, and that is seriously what made the group take off because people love the foodie memes. Yeah, they just do. Yes,
memes kill it, dude. They kill it.
And then after that, honestly, it was just a group of friends and other people that I thought I could trust, that would understand the vision, and that would, have some value added to them and their business for being the moderators as well.
So let me ask you this, and it can just be a simple yes or no if you want it to be. If you didn't have Wes or any of the other people in place and it was just you, could you be doing what
Absolutely
you're doing?
not. No.
Yeah.
And after 2,500 members, I don't know what happens, but things just get crazy.
Yeah.
I literally could not do it alone.
Okay.
Impossible. Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes to show you have to have great people around you, right?
Yes.
You have to, and one thing that you said, and the reason I kind of asked it in the way I did, is you have to have people that buy into the vision.
Yes.
Like Wes had to understand what you were trying to do there.
Yes.
Because if you got two different admins and, I've been a part of groups where you do see this post gets approved, but this one doesn't because this admin was okay with it, but this one wasn't. Yeah. You gotta have that unity of like, this is what the group is about. This is what we're going for.
Exactly. And honestly, I usually the mods are the ones that do all the post approval, post not, because I'll be honest, I totally do disagree with honestly taking anything down, but it's just something that has to be done.
Sure.
So they have a clearer vision of what that should look like. So I defer to them on that 100%. But it's really interesting.
I love that. And that just goes to show like you can have this great group that grows really fast, and you've just got to make sure that you adapt and maintain with it. And you have the team in place to help you because it's difficult. Like it looks fun to have a group of 10,000 people. It is fun. You can do a lot of cool things with that, but it comes at a cost.
There is some day-to-day work.
There is day-to-day work. And at this point, you're still probably not monetizing it that much, if at all. So it's not like you're out here collecting and making bank off of this, So it's still somewhat of a passion project, labor of love thing. And to have that kind of stress to deal with every day, and like people always mad, but then you're not like getting necessarily rewarded for that, quote unquote. That's a whole other thing. Yeah. And so when you're sitting there, if you're listening to this, you're like, hey, I want to start a Facebook group. Understand first, you got to have the people that are engaged. Yes. Secondly, you got to have the team. You got to have the vision. You got to have the vision, right? You got to have the vision. You got to have the user base that's engaged. You got to have the people in place, and then you've got to be willing to be okay with A, it just totally flopping and never being more than 100 members. But B, if it does grow big, I'm okay with it not being something that you make a lot of money on at first and that you sink a lot of time in. I think that's business in general, right? But that's what you've got to prepare yourself mentally for. Because if you go on day one, I'm going to be a millionaire from this group in a year, you're going to fail. Yes. There's just no sugarcoating that. Yeah. So... yeah, well, we spent a little bit of time on this, and I know we're kind of nearing the end, and so I've got a handful.
Dang, already.
Yes, time flies when you have.
Where's that sad trombone?
Yes, we're getting close to the end.
Soul. No,
right. So I've got a list of a couple of questions that I always ask every single guest that's here. It's like the one set of pre-decided questions. And that is, we play a segment called Tic-Tac-Toe.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so we don't actually play Tic-Tac-Toe anymore. We used to, but it doesn't really translate over people just listening on Spotify, right? So it stands for tips, tactics, and total domination. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. The first one's going to be a tip, the second one a tactic, and the last one total domination.
Let's do it.
What is a tip that you have for entrepreneurs who are they've been around 35 years, or they've been around 35 days, or they just have had an idea and they're not started yet?
Actually, stop trying to be so professional, honestly.
Yeah.
I know that's like kind of a bad one, but I think a lot of entrepreneurs, especially when they start, are like, I need the perfect pictures, I need the perfect everything.
Yeah.
And they just get trapped up in that and lose their voice.
Sure.
I think you need to drop the professionalism and like really find your voice, hone in on it, and don't be afraid to like really utilize it. I mean, be comfortable in your voice. People want someone that's authentic, unique, and inspiring. And if you can do that, like, don't be afraid. My personality is extremely loud. I thought, oh my God, there is no freaking way I will ever get far in Lubbock because I don't even have an inside voice. So like, yeah. But just, don't be afraid to let loose,
Yeah. And I think in today's day and age, that's become a little bit more widely accepted as well. Like, I don't wear suit and ties, ever. But
I'm in flip-flops every day, man.
But I'm in meetings with people that are wearing suit and ties every day, but I get just as much respect now because I come in with my own. To me, the professionalism doesn't have to be the attire or even like the tones of voices and stuff. It's about the knowledge and the expertise and the passion and drive behind it. Like at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Like the pleasantries, the formalities, that's honestly all horse crap. In my opinion, I've never been, it's like, what value do you bring to the table in terms of skills, knowledge, culture? Yeah. If you're wearing, a t-shirt and flip flops and, cargo shorts, that's me in the summertime. So, that's just how it is. So I really like that. You don't get caught up in your own head is just another kind of way of saying that. Like go out there, do, learn, improve your skill set. The professionalism comes along the way.
Yes.
All right. What's a tactic that you have? Like what's something that you implement every day or that you think other entrepreneurs should in order to set themselves up for success?
This is going to be dumb, but memes. I know that sounds so silly, but seriously, if y'all can find like daily memes or like every Wednesday have like a, some kind of like themed meme, they really, really do work. I mean, they really, really do work. And I cannot stress that enough. Like memes all the time. Memes all the time.
Yeah, no, we like memes up here. Yes. We don't do as many memes up here as we used to. It was honestly probably getting a little bit out of hand. But we use a tool called yes, there we go. We use a tool called Slack. We use a tool called Slack for
Slack,
team. Yeah, so Slack. You can upload custom emojis and everything. So we have littered our custom emoji section with like the "Ain't Nobody Got Time for That" or the Y, Captain Picard Y, and we've got like all these different like little meme emojis that we've uploaded. So that's kind of our memingness now. But yeah, I agree. You've got to have that outlet for creativity, fun, it just lightens the mood, and it just kind of, there's something about it means different things to different people. And it's funny. It's good. All right. Total domination. What's something that you do every day to set yourself up for total domination of like your skill set, of your industry, anything like that?
Honestly, just shouting out like small businesses, supporting them, but really just making sure that everyone knows that we're in it to win it type thing. Yeah. Just like really spreading the positivity, the community, just really getting up every day and thinking, how can I make Lubbock a better place? Even if it's not, the most amazing change today, what can I do, even if it's very, very small, to change the community around me? So I think just going in every day with that mindset.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, as we're getting close to wrapping up here soon, I've got two more questions I want to ask you. The first one is, everyone that knows you knows that you have an energy about you, right? Right?
You're not a stick either. 4:30 in the morning, I'm like, come on, calm down, Dylan.
you're just always fired up, and I love that. I think that's great. And I'm sure that you have your down days. Everybody does, right? Yeah. And that's totally fine. But what do you do to maintain this energy? And when you do have those down days, how do you recenter yourself and get back to it?
Well, I guess to maintain the energy, like that is really all natural. Like I don't have to maintain it. It's just there kind of a thing. So it's more like, how do you deal with it for me? But like the down days, just understanding that everyone has them. And it's okay to have them, and it's okay to be public about them. Yeah. As long as it doesn't drag everything down,
Sure.
Sure. I just think not being afraid to have the down days, and then having a support system around you that understands who you are, and that will always have your back.
Yeah. I really like that. And something that I hold true to is everyone's going to have down days. Everyone does. Everyone does. And for me, it's just continue to do the things that you know worked, you know, even if it doesn't feel like that day that everything's clicking. Just continue to run the plays, continue to run the actions, you know, wake up the same way. You might not have the same smile on your face, but do the same things that you would have done.
And you don't have to have, you know, that amount of energy every day.
No.
Everyone's passionate about something, right? So if you have a down day or something like that, what's something that you're really passionate about? Take a day to just talk about that and be passionate about that and be energized about that.
For me, it's playing drums.
Yeah,
and I every time I get into a frustrating situation or I'm having an off day, I always tell my wife, hey, I'm going outside to hit things with sticks.
Exactly.
So,
right.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly that's my escape right there is, you know, if Riker's having a bad day, you can tell because he's out there playing drums for an hour.
Yes.
You know? So anyway, I love that. All right. Well, as we're getting ready to wrap up, I guess my last question to you is, what do you have coming on the horizon, knowing that this episode is going to be coming out in like 2 months? So what do you have that people should know about?
I think actually we already covered it. You know, giving away the car, the mill. We have a lot of really cool things happening at Pecan Ridge and on Lubbock Foodies that is going to take Lubbock to the next level by far. So y'all definitely need to be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you so much. This was awesome, though, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to listen to some of the other ones or watch it on whatever platform you're listening or watching on. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.